It says, "The word of the Lord came to me again, saying, Son of man, there were two women, the daughters of one mother, and they prostituted themselves in Egypt. They prostituted themselves in their youth. There their breasts were squeezed, and their virgin breasts were handled." Now, just in these first few verses, you can see why it's already kind of one of the more uncomfortable chapters in the Bible. But the Hebrew language that's used here it's used intentionally. It's intentionally shocking, and it's intentionally uncomfortable. And some people don't like this kind of language. They don't like the language that God's using in this chapter, but in reality, God's using shocking language that his audience would understand perfectly. So God speaks to Ezekiel, and he starts to tell him this parable, this metaphor, about two sisters. And he's going to go through their patterns of spiritual unfaithfulness. And right here, he already shows that it didn't start late in life for these people. Now, the whole time I'm going to be saying her and they and them a lot, but think about it as Samaria and Judah. So Israel as a whole. So their patterns of spiritual unfaithfulness did not start late in life. In other words, it didn't start when they were already a long-established nation. It says it started in their youth. So when verse 3 says that they prostituted themselves in their youth in Egypt, it's talking about before the Exodus, meaning Israel was already unfaithful to God while they were still slaves. They didn't start out pure and then wander away later. They even in the Exodus, they brought the Egyptian idols with them out of Egypt. That's what they were accustomed to. Now, it's interesting that it says that they were daughters of one mother. Now, again, knowing that these women are a metaphor for the northern and southern kingdoms of Israel, them having the same mother in this metaphor means they had the same genetic, spiritual, and historical roots. So the reference to Egypt shows that Israel had a habit of relying on pagan nations and their pagan gods before they even got to this point where they're continuing to do that. So the truth is that sin is nothing new.